Anxiety. I went through a period of time where I was only able to take 1 or 2 20-minute naps for 8 days straight.
Oh my gosh.
It was the worst experience of my life. I remember driving to work after not sleeping all night and having terrible anxiety, thinking like, if this is the rest of my life, I might as well just crash this car into the fucking divider right now.
Oh man.
Sitting there like, maybe I just unbuckle my seatbelt and just fucking jerk this. You know? Yeah, dude, like that's how bad it was. There was a point where I left my house, and when you don't sleep, your memory goes.
Yeah.
I left my house and couldn't remember if I turned the coffee, the heater, the burner on or off. So I went back. Nope, burner was off, and went back in my car. And I said, "Wait, did I really check it?"
Oh my God, yeah, been there
3 times. 3 times. So I started developing OCD in 8 days. I started developing really bad OCD. Couldn't figure out what the fuck it was. And I was talking to a psychiatrist. Now, funnily enough, psychiatrists don't know much about talk therapy from a symptom management standpoint. They know about talk therapy from a symptom understanding or symptom diagnosis standpoint, right? Like, so they know what these are indicative of and what drugs to match up with it. Not how we can use. They're not typically educated in talk therapy in the sense of let's talk to make things better for anxiety or whatever the fuck. It's more talk therapists or social workers that are more skilled in that. So I was talking to a psychiatrist, and I was like, dude, like I think I have asthma. I can't breathe. I try to sleep and I can't take a fucking deep breath. I don't know what the hell it is. He goes, sounds like anxiety. I was like, bullshit. I don't have fucking anxiety. What do I look like, a pussy? So, and he goes, well, if it's allergies and asthma, take a Benadryl. And if it's anxiety, well, in 70% of people that have anxiety, Benadryl alleviates that. Get the fuck out of here. So I said, all right, fuck it. Took a Benadryl. I think I took 2 Benadryl or I took 1 Benadryl because I'm so scared of taking drugs that it gives me anxiety. Dude, I took CBD gummies and got anxiety from CBD. I'm Johnny fucking nocebo. That's me. So I took a Benadryl and I slept for 8 hours straight for the first time in 4 or 5 years. Now I hadn't had undisrupted 8 hours. And by the time I woke up, 90% of my symptoms were alleviated. So my brain healed a fuck ton. Yep. I was hurting bad, and my brain healed a ton just in one night of sleep. And my anxiety was bad for 2 years, 2 or 3 years, like just, I know, 2 years, really trying to get a hold of it. And I was doing therapy twice a week, cash out of pocket, $150 a session, like cash comes in, cash goes. Yeah, dude. Like that's, I mean, if you want to get better, there's just certain things you got to fucking do to figure out. And I didn't want to take drugs. I didn't want to take any drugs. So I figured out coping strategies, learning how to do all the shit that I wanted to do. And so that's how I came across sleep. So I was like, well, I'm not getting quality sleep. And how do I know if I'm getting quality sleep and what constitutes quality sleep? And what do we do for this? So I started looking up wearables to track sleep, came across the Oura Ring, which I fucking love. Mm-hmm. Now, the Oura Ring, it tracks heart rate substantially more accurate than the competitors. So one thing with sleep and heart rate is if your heart rate's too high, your deep sleep will suffer. Typically, that's the case.
Yep.
So as a result of that, and not necessarily REM sleep, because what I'm learning is sleep is biphasic. And we were taught that there's a sleep cycle where it goes awake, kind of sleep, deep sleep, REM sleep, start all over again. And it goes in like these cycles. And that's not what I've noticed through a lot of, and I don't think a lot of it's conclusive. But what happens is when you're in deep sleep, your hearing gets shut off. And when you're in REM sleep, you ever hear of sleep paralysis? Your ability to move, well, that's in REM sleep. Your ability to move gets shut off. So your brain isn't going to let you go deaf and paralyzed simultaneously. So sleep is biphasic. And typically what happens is the first half of the night, you get your deep sleep. The second half of the night, you have more REM sleep. Now, there's going to be some sleep researchers on here that could be fucking flipping a shit right now on what I'm saying. I'm not a PhD in sleep research, and I'm not up to date on the latest, greatest, whatever the fuck. Or maybe you're not up to date because you did your PhD fucking 10 years ago. Who the fuck knows? I don't know. But there could be people arguing this. Whatever. This is what I found. So, first half of the night, heart rate is important because it takes 4 to 6 hours for your stomach to clear solids from it. 4 to 6 hours. And then you still need to metabolize. Well, what does metabolizing food take? Energy. What does energy do? It increases blood flow to a certain area. When you need to increase blood flow to a certain area, what happens? Your heart pumps. When your heart pumps more, the heartbeat goes higher. So there's a ton of things to unpack with that. When your heart rate is elevated, that means it's working harder. And even if it's elevated by 5 beats per minute, if you have a resting heart rate of 55 and now it's up to 60, that's 10%. So now you're getting 10% less recovery than you could have just from a cardiovascular standpoint. So the Oura Ring and its ability to track heart rate was paramount for me. Just that alone was huge. So after that, I started coming up with my own parameters as to when I should be eating what. And I started flirting with some of the ideas of vegan meals being the last meal before bed, because carbohydrates and fats are easier to digest than proteins. And, you know, I kind of steered away from that. Right now, some solid parameters that I go by are 5 p.m. cutoff for food, especially if you're like a 10 p.m., 11 p.m. person. And I actually go to sleep at like 9 p.m., 9:30 sometimes because I'm just so fucking exhausted. No caffeine.
Ever? Right.
Yeah, so you ready for this? I have this app that tracks all these things for me because I'm fucking stupid. I can't remember anything. So I've been caffeine free now for 1,812 days.
Wow.
Yeah.
And any so no pre-workout, like again, none of like
nothing. Absolutely nothing. Now, the other thing too is there is some research that suggests that, you know, there's improved longevity with a cup of coffee every day. Like there's a correlation between people that drink 2 cups of coffee a day or 1 cup of coffee a day and increased life expectancy, or the what's I completely forget what the fuck it's called. The anti whatever effect that coffee has.
anti-aging.
It'll come to me in 20 minutes.
Yeah.
But anyway, like there's all these positive impacts that coffee has, in my opinion. So caffeine has a half-life of 7 to 9 hours. That's a half-life. That means if you have 100 milligrams, a cup of coffee at 10 a.m., well, at 7 p.m., you have 50 milligrams pumping through your system still. And so and let's say you have that cheeky cup of coffee at 12 in the afternoon. Now you're trying to go to bed at 9 and you got 50 milligrams of caffeine pumping through your system. It's caffeine. It blocks receptors that register fatigue. That's what it does. It tricks you into thinking that you're not tired. So why would I take that to enhance my sleep? You're not gonna. So it has a half-life of 7 to 9 hours and a clearance rate of 27. So it takes more than a full day for it to be completely out of your system.
Wow.
So and not to mention, like, if you are wired to fucking begin with and prone to anxiety, caffeine or stimulants really aren't going to be your best friend anyway. So I said, fuck it, I'm just cutting out all caffeine. So cutting out caffeine is huge. Not eating past 5 p.m., 6 p.m. And that's more in accordance with circadian rhythm. So Rhonda Patrick actually set out some pretty cool guidelines that I follow, and here's what they are. Ready? CRP. No results found. Hold on. It's in my fucking notes. So intermittent fasting plus circadian rhythm. Feedings between 8 to 10 hours, primarily during the day. No meals after 5 p.m. Each 3-hour increase in nighttime fasting is linked to a 20% reduction in glucose A1C. For every 10% of calories consumed past 5 p.m. leads to a 3% increase in C-reactive protein. C-reactive protein is the measurement of systemic inflammation. Every additional meal that you have in the day leads to a 8% decrease in C-reactive protein. So if you have someone like me that was just constantly chronically inflamed, and inflammation is a big part of my anxiety, the fuck am I eating past 5 p.m. for? Fuck this. And that's more circadian rhythm. Now, the other thing that I read months ago was majority of protein synthesis, optimal protein synthesis apparently occurs between 5 a.m. and 12 p.m. That was one paper that I read. So now, well, you wake up, you're going to have all your protein by 12 p.m. and then you're set for the rest of the day. You eat whatever the fuck you want until 5 p.m. and you're good to go. But I mean, that's kind of how I segregate things. And then if that holds in line with my thought about having the last meal being a vegan meal, then by 5 p.m. we're all right, and the carbohydrates are already passed through your system after 4 to 6 hours before a 9 p.m. bedtime.
Congratulations on making it to the end of the video. Why don't you celebrate by watching more videos just like it? You can also help us on our quest to placate the algorithm gods by liking, sharing, subscribing, and commenting. Thank you.